Hello, everyone. My name is Jason, and welcome to a wintry day in the IPR game room. Today, we're going to be talking about Zafir, tactical role-playing game by Randy Knapp. This is a big book. There's a lot in it. There's a lot to unpack, so I'll try to get through it as quickly and efficiently as possible. So, at its heart, Zafir is a kind of a move and shoot skirmisher game with a lot of detail played to terrain, cover, movement squares, and this sort of thing. All done very literally in squares and blocks. There's a lot of fine examples and photographs of how to play those kind of scoot and shoot, move and cover, shoot again sort of aspects of the game. A lot of pictures and an entire adventure built, again, with diagrams involving blocks that you move your miniatures in and around. It's from what I can tell, a pretty good system for doing this. Very logical, not super complicated. And while I'm not really an expert on these sorts of skirmisher, miniature type games, I have played an awful lot of Champions over the years. I mean, like a lot. So when it comes to, tactical D6 games, I feel pretty qualified to comment. It seems like a good one. It's a somewhat traditional role-playing game that you have sort of characteristics and attributes and that sort of thing, and hit points. Though not quite in exactly the same way you would in, say, something like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's still the elements of a more traditional game are there. So in Zafir, you play an airship crew who goes on missions. And as a role-playing game, most of the kind of storytelling part of it is built around these actions at the kernel. So again, you are a crew. You go and do things, and the things you do when they're not in the form of sort of storytelling and conversation are going to involve combat that's built around sort of tactical terrain maneuvering in small units. Zafir is a fully developed setting, and the basic idea is it takes place on a planet, and that planet has kind of magic and technology based around crystals. These crystals are valuable. Mining them and acquiring them represents a big part of the world of Zafir's economy, and therefore is going to represent a lot of its politics and what your crew gets involved in doing on various missions for various groups or people, or on their own for ethical reasons. You have 6 different character races to choose from, 2 of which are human or human-like, and then 4 of which are far more alien. There are 3 starting classes you begin with. You then advance on to 6 base classes, and then through a series of decision trees as you advance in level, there are 12 specialized classes and finally 12 advanced classes that you have to choose from, beginning on which of your beginning classes you start with, your base beginning classes, your starting classes, and then where you choose to go as the advanced tree branches off. Again, it's a very developed setting. It details the religions of Zafir and its gods in great detail. There are, in fact, 5 gods that are official, and then 2 unofficial gods whose worship is at least somewhat suppressed. The book contains a detailed bestiary of potential opponents, both supernatural, animal, and agents and soldiers and all sorts of things. It has a gazetteer of nations and geography, and it also contains a complete history of the world of Zafir. The game has a very fantasy feel, but it's techno-fantasy. So the world contains a lot of technology, a lot of which is based on magic and power that comes from these crystals, but some of which is just sort of familiar Earth-like technology like firearms. A lot of firearms in Zafir, but also a lot of spells. So when I say move and shoot tactically, shooting can mean spells, shooting can mean guns, that kind of thing. The book is full color, hardcover. It's beautifully illustrated, genuinely. It also has, each chapter has a color code, as you can see on the spine. So you can tell what chapter you're in by color coding, which is very handy. It also contains a glossary and an index very useful and shockingly missing from a lot of role-playing game books in my experience. And also, interestingly, it contains an entire section of information about the artist that contributed to it, as well as their contact information. So if you wish to hire them for your own projects, you can get a hold of them, which strikes me as uniquely thoughtful and worth emulating. The game has, unusually for, I think, a game that's kind of miniatures focused. And when I say miniatures, I don't mean it's fronting like some sort of product line of miniatures. I mean, you can very obviously print out cardboard miniatures or use small tokens for your characters or whatever you like. What I mean is, for a game that's tactical, it has a very modern kind of approach to gender and sexuality, kind of unusual for these sorts of games. So I would say that Zafir is not only a very good game for people that already enjoy playing tactical and kind of war games, skirmisher sorts games, and are looking for something different, something without Space Marines, something that feels different, has its own unique feeling, but also maybe storytelling gamers who always wanted to try something like this but kind of feel put off by the existing products. It is available from IPR. You can find the link in our notes. Also, follow us on the social medias, the Facebooks, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our newsletter, linked below. And remember, gamers, when fighting in the Blue War, don't trust the mechanoids.